Well, a very good new year to you, and welcome back to Theology Now 2022. We're going to step into a new conversation now for the new year, and it's going to be different from actually the ones that we've maybe been doing up until now. Normally my starting point has been either a truth about God or a passage of scripture. But what I want to do for the next number of videos is to really start it more with our human experience. And that will launch us toward God, I think. And we're going to be calling this Believing in and Connecting with God. Now, for those of you who maybe have had a long, decades-long relationship with God and connection with your faith, there's hopefully going to be some new perspectives and some food for thought. Maybe also for those of you who don't know if you believe in God, or maybe you used to believe more and that has faded now and you want to maybe reboot the conversation. Particularly for you, I hope that there's something to really ponder and find some wisdom in the coming conversations. So what I want to start with is something that is perhaps a little bit counterintuitive, but hopefully is an experience that is common to all of us, and that is the appreciation of beauty. We're going to talk for a minute about beauty, and hopefully it will help us to both believe in and connect with God. Now, beauty is really subjective. So everybody has, I think, some ability to appreciate or understand or behold beauty. But for all of us, it might be different kinds of things. I think many of us could agree on some common things that we find beautiful, whether it is a beautiful snow-covered landscape, a star-scattered sky, the ocean crashing against rocks with thunder and power. There are some common themes around nature, scenes from nature, that many of us could agree on are just beautiful, and it's hard to describe or articulate, but we just know that it is, and we can feel it. There are other things that are far more personal and unique. For some of us it might be a piece of music, delighting in some poetry or prose that has been brilliantly written. It might be savouring a delicious vintage of wine or enjoying a meticulously prepared meal. I've got a friend who's got a PhD in chemistry, and he says that one of the most beautiful things for him to appreciate is the periodic table, because it speaks to him of the meticulous detail, the precision, the uniqueness of the elements that make up the world that we live in and how they all relate and correspond to each other. That beauty is lost on most of us, but not to somebody who has developed that appreciation. It might be a magnificent piece of music, the form or the face of another person. There are all these different ways in which we are drawn in to apprehend, to appreciate, to absorb, to delight in that which is beautiful. But here's the thing that is common to all of these, and that is that beauty is not an end in itself. Beauty is always a sign. It is always a sign of something that is beyond itself, towards something more beautiful, towards the infinite and the ultimate, the transcendent, and that is actually into God. We're told in Scripture that all things are from Him and through Him and back to Him, and that includes all beauty. So God is therefore the source and the end of all beauty. God, you could say, is the destination of all that is beautiful. It speaks of Him in a way that we find hard sometimes to understand or appreciate, but there is something profound and mysterious and transcendent going on when we delight in that which is beautiful. C.S. Lewis explores this and ponders this in his book, The Weight of Glory, in which he says at one point that beauty has the ability to both ravish us, so it just takes us somewhere and fills us and satisfies us with itself, and yet it also causes us to ache and to hunger for more. Why? Because we know that there's something else going on behind the beauty, behind the magnificence, behind nature, behind music, behind art, behind science, behind literature, behind all of these things that confront us with the beautiful. There is a greater beauty, a grander, more transcendent delight, and that is actually the life of God. And so whether we even appreciate it and think about it and understand it in the moment, when we are confronted with beauty and when we receive it and when we delight in it, we are actually believing in God. And we're actually connecting with God, even although It might not be what we're feeling at that moment. There is something holy that is happening. Something sacred is going on in our lives as we are embraced by and absorbing the scene or the food or the relationship or the moment or the music. Whatever that is, it speaks to us of something beyond itself, and it's actually God. So hopefully a simple additional discipline or awareness that we might have moving into 2022 is our appreciation, our sensitivity toward that which is truly beautiful. When we see the landscape, when we experience the joy, when we know we're confronted with something extraordinary, that we might appreciate it, yes, for what it is, but we might also appreciate it for what it speaks of, for where it takes us, for who it tells us about. And that is truly God. So may you have a year that is filled with the beautiful, where you can believe in and connect with God in more personal and profound ways. Till next time, peace.